How are you?
I'm good, you?
Yeah, good, thank you. How was your race?
It was alright.
How did you do?
You don't get like the results until everyone's finished because of how they start it. But
Oh, I see, right, okay.
I need to start it with the button.
Yeah, so you need clutch down first, and then press start run. Cool.
Doesn't feel like it was yesterday
Doesn't it?
that we were I had a lesson. Feels like so much longer.
Does it?
Yeah.
I think that's as high as it. Okay, that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it feels a lot longer.
Well, you've had a sleep since then, haven't you?
True.
And you've had a busy morning.
Yeah.
So, I think what we said yesterday, unless you fancy doing something else, is we'll head off into your Tang Hall area,
Yep.
have a little drive around some residential streets, see how that goes, and then we can decide what we're going to do from there.
Yep.
Yeah, at the moment, my thought is, as long as the residential road around Tang Hill area goes pretty okay, then we could make our way over to a car park near where the test centre is, and we can give you an introduction to parking.
It's gonna be fun. Yeah, sounds good.
Yep, okay, so over to you when you're ready then. So based on what you already know, what you perhaps seen other people do, what do you think is involved in manoeuvring a car into a parking bay? It doesn't matter whether you're driving forwards or you're reversing.
A lot of awareness, of where the cars are, slow speeds.
Let's stick with awareness for a moment. You're absolutely right, you need to be aware of other vehicles. What else might you need to be aware of?
Pedestrians popping in and out between cars.
Yep. Also, the vehicle isn't moving.
There could still be people in it waiting to...
move, or they might be about to open a door.
Yep.
Perhaps not checking first. Yep, you could have people walking down the sides of your car, walking across the front and back. You could potentially get cyclists. Don't tend to get them often in car park, but you get them sometimes. You could get kids running around.
Mm-hmm.
You're pretty carefree and not aware of any risks.
Yeah.
So there's potentially a lot to think about. Yeah, even if you feel like the area of the car park you're in is pretty empty, if we've come here, then other people could come here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so still need to be aware of your surroundings. Okay, so awareness. So what does that mean then in terms of where you're going to look?
Everywhere. Right. Is this when looking into somewhere to park?
It's as soon as you enter a car park, it's when you're deciding which lane you're going to go down, it's when you're deciding which parking bay you're going to use.
You're looking just kind of in all directions, to just like mirrors, blind spot, everywhere just to see what's happening around you.
That's it. So if you imagine yourself in a driving seat, that like typical thing that we see sometimes on televisions and films, like a picture of a radar screen. Yeah, and you're in the middle of the radar, and then that arm goes round, and occasionally it goes beep, beep, as it picks up things. You're doing the same, really. You're trying to sweep all around. Sometimes it's that way, sometimes it's that way, but you're looking in for anything that's going to give you the little beep on your radar.
Yeah.
And if it does, pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. See where that dot is moving to.
It becomes a don't know, and you've got to stay aware, slow down. Well,
yeah, it might be a don't know, so you might be able to carry on moving, but just cautiously, or it might be don't go.
Yep.
Oh, that blip's gone now.
And you can
Back to go.
Yeah.
So awareness, absolutely critical. What else?
Is this?
Just in general, whenever you're manoeuvring your car in a parking space or any other limited space, really, where you haven't got too much room to manoeuvre, what sort of, let's think speed.
Slow.
Define slow for me. Give it a miles per hour.
5.
That's probably about 5 times too fast. So, when I demonstrate it to you, I'll get the digital display on so that you, from this seat, you can see how fast I'm going.
Yeah,
and
well, I feel like 5 miles an hour is
5 miles an hour is slow.
I feel like 5 miles an hour is really slow. Well,
yeah, it is, but it's far too fast for manoeuvring safely into a parking bay.
You kind of want to just have it in first gear and just like the clutch up and just let it almost roll in like that.
Yeah, we're going to use the technique which is called feathering the clutch, which I'll demonstrate to you. And you have been practicing, you have been doing it without necessarily being aware of it. It's when you do that, just around bites, when we were doing hill starts, and we're just using the up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down technique. So we're using the same technique here, but just in a different context.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll notice when I'm doing it, the car might actually be moving, but it will still read 0. On the display. That way, because we're going so slow, we've then got time to keep checking all around. We'll also have a reversing camera, because we've got one in this car that we can look at when we're going backwards. And it's also going to help with the last point, really, which is the accuracy, because whenever we're getting into a parking bay, we need to end up between the lines. Or if you're reversing in between 2 vehicles, then you need to end up with approximately equal amount of space between the vehicles. The white lines almost become irrelevant at that point, because if the vehicles next to you haven't parked correctly in white lines, then you can't. But you still need to make sure you've got room to open doors on either side. Yeah. So let's swap seats. Let me give you a demonstration of that in practice.